misled or don't choose common narratives as a basis for development education. Finally, I want to conclude with an Eastern European proverb, which I think tells you something about smart economics. It says this: if you do not have food, you have one problem. You have but if you have food, you have 1,000 problems. Right? But it adds, I'm not giving the questions. Thank you very much.
Excuse me?
Honorable Harriet Chigai, Honorable Rose Manuka, and all our key speakers coming to please take seats.
Yes, you will. Yes.
Very good, Honorable Warren. Please take a seat. Thank you. Distinguished guests, may I have your attention? All the delegates, please take your seats as we move into the second part of our program. Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge our keynote. We move into the second part of the program. We began at 9, and we listened to presentations that dealt with the statistics about this region. Before we go into the full flow of part 2, I'd like to acknowledge CS Eliud Owalo. Welcome, sir. And he's accompanied by CS Florence Bore Karibu, she's the CS of Labour and Social Protection. She's accompanied by the Deputy Speaker, Honourable Gladys Moss Karibu Sana. Also accompanying the CS is Honourable Harriet Chigai Karibu Madam. Welcome to our conference. We also have Our two eminent speakers, the American Ambassador to Kenya, Her Excellency Meg Whitman, welcome to Kisumu. And the High Commissioner of India, Namia Kampa, welcome to Kisumu. The second part begins with an introduction and warm remarks to you by the chair, Betty Adero, who is in charge of this event, the Professional Association of Nyanza Women. She's our national chair. I'll give you a brief background as to who Betty Adero is. She's a global public health specialist, sexual and reproductive health and their rights. She's a voice for the prevention and the mitigation of all forms of gender violence against women and girls. She founded her own foundation, which is based in Kenya and in Tanzania, the Betty Adero Foundation. She's a graduate from the University of Nairobi, a bachelor's degree in social work. She's pursued her Masters of Science in Global Public Health Management at the University of Western Cape in South Africa. She then followed that with a postgraduate diploma in Children, Youth and Development from the Institute of Social Sciences and is currently pursuing a PhD at the University of Erasmus in the Netherlands. For her exceptional leadership, she has been awarded several awards, two of which I will point out: the Global Icon 2019 Award by Passion Vista, and this year, the Outstanding Women's Voice from the Humanitarian Awards Global Convention. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure and honor to welcome Betty Adero, our chair, to grace you with her room.
To the Cabinet Secretary, ICT and Digital Economy, Eliud, Owalo, to Your Excellency, Ambassador Meg Whitman, the U.S. Ambassador to Kenya, Your Excellency, Ambassador Namia Kampa, the Indian High Commissioner to Kenya, Cabinet Secretary Labor, Social Protection, Lawrence Boren, our Deputy Speaker, National Assembly, Gladys Boss, Women Rights Advisor to the President, Madam Harriet Shigai, all esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for making the journey to be part of this historic and remarkable occasion for immense significance, and not just for our region, but for our entire nation of Kenya. Wanwako Akenya, also known as Karibuni Sana. Allow me to immensely thank our patron, Waziri Eliud Owalo, for holding us together, giving us guidance as an association, and helping shape our journey as a professional coalition and association of women to face back to Nyanza and build Nyanza. Allow me to also thank profusely the organizing committee led by our organizing secretary, Madam Grace, and the team. Wherever you are, you can just stand and let us see who you are. Ladies and gentlemen, it is this team of gracious ladies who have worked tirelessly to make this event what it is now and beyond. So Nyanza boasts of a rich history of intellectual prowess, a region that has cultivated doctors, nurses, engineers, professors, and professionals of various stripes. We take pride in our Nyavi meaning our unique style and verb. But our legacy is not limited to title and degrees. It extends to the remarkable women who stand at the level of our intellectual force, some of whom are here today. In this vast land, brain power and unwavering self-confidence abounds. Yet beneath this lies Are we living to our maximum potential? Does this align with the reality of poverty and underemployment, disease, food security, and inadequate infrastructure that still confront us? Is it a paradox, or are we asking the wrong questions? Over time, the song in the voices of women and girls have faded, and the vibrance of our youth has gone cold, drowned by the noise of underdevelopment, food insecurity, soaring unemployment rates, glaring poverty, slow embrace of technological innovations, and the ominous cloud of political intolerance looms overhead. Nyanza as a region lags behind in economic, social, and political spheres. These are harsh realities that continue to silence the song in our voices of our women, girls, and our youth. Ladies and gentlemen, it is for such a time as this that we, the Professional Association of Women, are called upon and have come together aspiring to refocus the narrative and to rewrite it. We recognize women often bear the brunt of challenging times, and we must take their place as catalysts for change for everybody in whatsoever we do and at whatever cost. We envision a vision and a future where effective connections are forged, linking women to key institutions and development partners such as government ministries, local and international NGOs, development partners, private and faith-based sectors, and more. Together, we shall harmonize our efforts to compose a new song for our women, our girls, and our youth. To this endeavor, the National Secretariat, in collaboration with our dedicated members, have set this two-day event to launch our organization, to launch our vision and our mission. Our association is dubbed PAN Women. PAN is an acronym that stands for Nyanza Association of Professional Women. Ladies and gentlemen, PAN is a traditional pestle and mortar, and we'll see that on your screens at some point. And why so? It's because we believe it symbolizes who we are, concoction of ideas and strategies coming together for the good of our people. We stand on the platform of a beacon of hope, a testament to the strength and resilience of the women of Nyanza. Tomorrow, as part of our launch, we are committed to a better future where we join hands with the fraternity of Maseno University for a massive tree planting initiative in alignment with the President's initiative of planting 15 billion tree seedlings by the year 2032 to realize the forest restoration and mitigate the effects of climate change. The theme for this event is Forging Forward Together, and it encapsulates our vision. We pledge to ensure that the dreams and aspirations of Nyanza women are not merely reveries, but become concrete realities. Every member of our group plays an active part in Symphony of Change as an ensemble where every voice is heard and every heart beats in unison. You might wonder why Nyanza? Well, for starters, you know that charity begins at home, but you said it doesn't stay there. So our dreams are big, and our message isn't just confined to our boundaries of Nyanza. Our key mission concerns the drive to boost our socio-economic and prosperity of our women, girls, and youth, as well as persons living with disabilities. We are crafting an environment where everyone can thrive and everyone whose voice needs to be heard will be heard. Our key objectives include capacity strengthening of our women and youth for financial inclusion. We also realize the critical role that climate-smart initiatives in agriculture and fisheries can play in bolstering our socio-economic standing, especially of our women. We are dedicated to providing linkages to local enterprises, linking them to access to real mentorship, and support, which is essential for their growth. We also intend to invest in the space of education for our youth and seek sustainable partnerships for scholarships and mentorship programs as such. Lastly, but not least, we appreciate the crucial importance of environmental conservation. By embracing sustainable practices, we not only are committed to improving our environment, but also to enhance our livelihoods of our communities and our families. We seek partnerships with all of you to educate our community about the causes we stand for and the effects of climate change. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, our mission is not a one-woman job, neither is it a one-day job. It is a collective endeavor. We humbly seek partnerships with governments, with individuals, with development partners, and all key stakeholders to build and sustain a brighter, more resilient, and sustainable future for our youth. We move forward with a shared commitment beyond today, a unified purpose, and unwavering determination. Together, we believe that we will break barriers, shatter glass ceilings, and create a brighter, more prosperous Nyanza for all, and bring back the song in the voices of our women, girls, and youth. Asante sana.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Your remarks are warmly appreciated. And we take on board your comments that this is not a one-day job by a one-man team. This is a collective responsibility, and we will walk this journey with you under your stewardship. I'd now like to welcome Mr. Jaffa Mende, who is the Chair of the Nyanza Investment and Development Conference. A quick bio on this.
Culture brings unique difference and different backgrounds that we can thrive on. The Luos, the integrated communities, the Indians, the Somalis, and all other communities which have integrated within our larger Luo community possess distinct traditions, customs, and ways of thinking that, when combined, make us stronger and more innovative. However, diversity diversity alone is not sufficient. Inclusion is the key that unlocks the true potential of our diversity. Inclusion means actively welcoming and involving individuals from all backgrounds, ensuring that each person feels valued, respected, and heard. We must break down any existing barriers and create an environment of equal opportunity for all. One group that we must focus on including in the association is the youth. They are the future leaders and change makers of our region. By involving them in our professional women's group, we provide them with mentorship, support, and guidance. The youth being fresh, the youth will bring fresh perspectives, boundless energy, and innovative ideas that can propel our group forward. Their inclusion ensures that our efforts are sustainable and that our legacy continues for generations to come. In addition to the youth, we must also extend our arms to Nyanza professional women in the diaspora. They may be physically distant, but their connections and contributions to our region remain strong. Their experiences, the expertise, and the resources they have acquired abroad can significantly contribute to the growth and development of this group and this region. Their inclusion brings a global perspective that expands our network, opening doors to new opportunities and collaborations. Equally important is the inclusion of local grassroots women from the villages across Nyanza region. These women are the backbone and livelihood of our communities. They possess a wealth of knowledge, resilience, and unique experiences that we can learn from and draw on. Their inclusion in our group not only empowers them, but also enhances our understanding of the challenges that they face. By listening to their voices, involving their decision-making process, we can create more effective strategies to uplift and support them and their cause. Let us remember that diversity and inclusion are not mere buzzwords. They are the foundation of progress and success. By embracing diversity, we open ourselves to a world of possibilities and foster a culture of understanding and acceptance. Inclusion ensures that every member of our group, regardless of their background, has an equal chance to contribute and thrive.
Like tomorrow, we are going to plant those trees in Maseno. We also plan to recognize women who have been trailblazers in Nyanza and to support them in their present life. We plan to work with the principals in schools to mentor the students and also to provide linkages in where they can be able to go for internship. We also plan to improve women's businesses by connecting them to the outside world so that they can be able to sell their goods outside and get better profit. So our main focus is on women and girl child, to make them better, to make them feel acceptable, to make them feel that they are part of our country and they can make it in life. We plan also to empower the professional women, the young professional women who are just starting their careers, to give them more training so that they can be empowered and do better in their careers. We are planning big things and we want to thank you for coming to grace our occasion, because I know through your help one day we will succeed in what we plan to do. Thank you so much and God bless you. Thank you.
She's a law graduate and was an MBA in finance. Did you know my lecturer is in the room today? Honorable Gladys Force. The student is well briefed.
Thank you. Good morning. Yes, the two ambassadors that we have with us today, our CSS, my own professor, Gladys Force, and my mentor in finances, Mrs. Mary Okello, Dr. Mary Okello, my own classmate, almost the same time, and my dear colleague who is served with in the last parliament. I'm so delighted to be here today and to welcome you. You know, I come from this county, and being a host, I don't need to belabor. I want to belabor or to make long speeches, because it is my day to sit back and to hear what the visitors have for us. We have always been meeting as women from this region, and today we are so privileged to have the guests with us, and we'd like to have and give you that time. I'm so delighted, my professor, a very hard nut. For you to pass our class, it wasn't easy, and Harriet can attest to that. And Madam CS, we are so glad to have you here. And all the women of Kisumu. Today we are launching PAN, and already you've been shown, given the meaning of that. But it's a matter of putting things together and forging forward as a people. After serving in this county as a women representative and also as a senator, I think I know so much about Kisumu, and I can tell you the meaning of Kisumu. Kisumu now it is a city, but the meaning of Kisumu, it goes in the Luo language. It means Kisuma. Kisuma means it's a place where there's a lot of food, and people came together to exchange their merchandise, and from there now we have our city. I think that was the last spot in 1901 when the railway line reached this area. So as women from this area, and even women in general, I want to tell you that before we tackle the issue of food security, when I was growing up, there was no day my mother went to the market to buy vegetables. There was no day my mother went to the market to buy milk. These were things which were given. Even chicken. You walk in and there's a slaughterhouse for you. You have to eat chicken. But nowadays, I think we have feed ourselves, and now we sort of behave like beggars. We were being shown statistics just before our guests arrived. And those statistics are showing that we are not so badly off. But we have entered a world where we want to believe that we are so badly off and there's very little that we can do, and to make ourselves very helpless. I don't believe in being helpless. And I don't believe that women can be helpless. Because we can use whatever we have in our hands to make our children eat. I think that is very critical. Secondly, from this launch of today, we are going to do the county chapters. And each county, to the sub-county, to the villages. And we are going to propagate the bottom-up agenda. That is the Kenya Kwanza agenda in developing the whole country. Whereby you start with the lowest coming upwards. Many women have attended seminars, conferences, but at the backyard, in their villages, the problem remains the same. Why? It's because whatever we learn, we don't take it down and we don't do a bottom-up type of arrangement. So that to me is very critical. I want you to feel most welcome. And after this, you are also going to have a taste of several dishes from this area. Madam Ambassador, I don't know what type of food you have eaten in Kenya, but today we are going to give you all assorted type of food, and I believe that you are going to enjoy it. Thank you very much, and feel most welcome from one and your very own Rose Nyamunga, who is our host and your host today. Thank you.
We appreciate your comments. In this room, you have billionaires. They come from different parts of the world. One female banker. She was also the former vice president of the Women's World Banking in the US. She founded the Kenya Women's Finance Trust, and she's also a senior advisor of the African Development Bank. Please take the stage. Welcome, Mary O'Kell.
You will bear with me, I'm not very good on protocol, but I have reached the age of freedom, so you will just have to bear with me. Yes, Mr. Owalo, all CSs here, all ambassadors here, please forgive me if I'm not addressing you properly. But as I said, when you age, I'm the oldest person here, so you will have to excuse me. Today is a very, very happy day, and I hope you will not allow me time because I'm slow. I'm very happy to be here, and I cannot thank you, Buenos CS, for this meeting. Aren't we all happy? If you are happy and you know, clap your hands. If you are happy and you know, clap your hands. If you are happy and you know, and you really want to show. If you are happy and you know, clap your hands. Mr. CS, Mr. Owalo, we cannot thank you enough for this. Because for us, this is a great day. And for the women of this region, we are very grateful that you are giving us an opportunity to revive and re-energize our region. For women, it's very, very important and very significant when a man comes out to support you. And I can say to you this, if you look at the organizations in this country, women organizations, you will find that the ones that were supported by men are there and they are doing a lot of work. Kenya Women Finance Trust is one of those that is here today because of the support of men. Kenya Women Finance Trust started with the help of the managing director of Barclays Bank in 1982, Mr. Myers. He allowed us to start that organization, and Barclays Bank Arabic branch, which. But anyway, what I wanted to say is for women it is very important to balance between career and there are times you may have to forgo your career for the sake of family. And I'll just give you an example. In 1973, I was given a promotion to go to the program. My husband was a lecturer at the University of Nairobi. My children were small. I had to forgo that. And it took 4 years. 1977 is when eventually I got an appointment, a promotion. So there are times you may have to balance to safeguard your family. Finally, I just want to tell you, never give up whatever challenges you face. In 2004, I faced one of the worst challenges of my life. My husband was killed in a mysterious car accident, and I was devastated. I didn't know whether to continue with the schools or not. But by the grace of God, I persevered. And that's why I even grew and came to Kisumu. So I'm saying, never give up. And the final word, we need to collaborate and support one another. They say millionaires collaborate, the poor people compete. Let us not compete, but collaborate.
Thank you very, very much, Mary Okello. I think that was an extremely insightful presentation that looks at the whole woman, her career, her life, her family, and the aspects of self-care as well. One of which is BAT, another Bamburi Cement. She's also a member of the Advisory Council of the KEPSA and an advisory board member of Palm House Foundation. And finally, she's a member of the University of Eldoret, the Endowment Trust Board of Trustees. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Rita Kavashi.
Let me step away from the podium. CS Owalo, invited guests, good afternoon again. So my name is Rita Kavashi. As you've heard, I'm the Managing Director of the Isuzu East Africa, formerly General Motors. And I think my role here today is to encourage the Women Association to keep going. Why is this? Because in my career, I have leveraged business associations for personal growth. Because business associations are an opportunity, first and foremost, to serve. Because I think many associations, people don't get paid to go and serve. So it's to give of ourselves to be able to be useful to our societies and our communities and our sectors. So when I became managing director, I enjoyed KEMSA, Kenya Private Sector Alliance. I joined Kenya Association of Manufacturers. I joined the Kenya Vehicle Assemblers Association. And through these associations, we've been able to advocate. Kwame talked to a great length around the challenges that are facing our country: poverty, education, disease. And it is through the associations that we can be able to engage with people in government to push for changes that will enable us to grow. In my sector, for instance, I've been able to push for government to come up with regulations and laws around the auto sector. And that has helped our business to grow quite significantly. It's an opportunity to learn. Because when, for instance, I am in the auto sector, if I just remain in the auto industry, I was not going to be able to learn things to do with agriculture, education, finance, and all that. But through the association, because you come together with people from different sectors, I have had an opportunity to learn a lot more, which I have used that learning to further strengthen and grow my own business. Business associations are also an opportunity for business. People do business with people they know. So in my organization, I have been able to strategically leverage the many business associations that our company belongs to do business. And because of that, from the time I took over, our share was about 26%. We are now 52%. I took over a company with about 200 employees. Now we have 500 employees. So all this is because of course, leveraging the opportunities of business association and also having a woman as a leader. We've all read of companies. We've had statistics that say actually when you have a woman at a leadership role, that woman is able to actually transform the business. It's not a job, it is true. I am one of those women who have been able to completely do exactly that, as I've seen from the statistics. And why is that? Because, of course, I'm a professional woman. I went to school, I have learned, I have continued to develop myself just like the rest of us. But I've also leveraged my feminine skills. And you know that the world today needs our skills to be able to navigate things that are actually not very easy to navigate. Things to do with climate change, things to do with disease, things to do with war. Because we bring beautiful skills, capabilities on communication, on collaboration, on long-term view, on calculated risk-taking. And all these are skills that are in majority of us as women. And those are actually the skills that are needed to help the world move to a better space. And we saw it during COVID time. And we read about the women, the countries that were led by women, and how those women.
Network in Africa, a graduate of the University of Dar es Salaam, Leeds University, and holds a PhD from Kenyatta University. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Dr. Eliud.
Good morning, all protocols observed. Let me begin by congratulating you, panel women members, and I'll be very brief. I want to recognize the CS because he is my student. He will always be my student. I have very few things to say today. One of the things that I want to do is to challenge you. Not to make you a big head because you have established this organization. But to congratulate you and ask you several questions. That's what I've done over the years. As the CEO and the group CEO of the Network of Africa, sitting in Women's World Banking Board in Mary Rose for 22 years, traveling the entire world talking about women. These are the questions that you have to ask in Nyanza. Because once you have done this, you are global sisters. You are no longer just Nyanza, women from Nyanza. You are professional women now connected to the world. Do you know, ladies, that over 1.3 billion women are excluded from financial systems and structures today? And do you know that over 70% of these women live in sub-Saharan Africa, where you live and where your grandchildren live? Exclusion of women in financial and other spaces that is aggravated today by the growing gender and digital divide. Do you know that it is affecting sub-Saharan Africa girls and women? In early days, when I began thinking about how women can access financial services, it meant to me, it still do, that it is women owning their own accounts and owning the resources that they produce with their own work. Later, others whom I met in 1995, women like you, in Belgium, were dealing with the issues of getting women entrepreneurs owning their own production. At the same time, there were other women also talking about women owning their own reproduction. That is so important, reproduction as well. With Women's World Banking, where I served for 22 years, and Mary was there towards the time, we talked about the idea that women's power and voices in this world must be heard. And we said in doing this, it meant real strategy, and Mary talked about that. It also meant bringing men along. Then I would say to them that what I foresee as a woman leader is that power must be shared between women and men for sense to prevail. But others will tell me that there's a lie in the sky. And admittedly, the gap is narrow compared to my earlier days in the early 80s when I met Eliud from India.
We actually need to think and see how can we plug in, what can we do, how can we grow the digital space for the sake of the women and the young girls and the children, and how can we entice as many women and girls to plug into the ICT and innovation space. So my mantra has always been very simple. The fact that you've put yourselves together, the fact that you already thought about this and you've put yourself together, mine to you is that just go ahead and do it. There's no turning back. So we must tell ourselves as women that we must be able to perform and we must succeed. So Pani must succeed. The question then is how? And the most important thing when women come together, there's one thing that always pulls us away, and that is leadership. We must always accept that at any given time, there's one leader. And the rest of us must pull together and put strategies together so that we support the leadership so that we can stand strong. The other most important thing I would wish to leave the Pani women leaders is that the ability to learn. is the most important pillar for any leadership.
Today, my friend, the Deputy Speaker, and the distinguished ladies of the Professional Association of Nyanza Women, all my colleagues in government who are gathered here with us today. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Allow me, first of all, to most sincerely thank all of you for getting time to join the Professional Association of Nyanza Women here today. It is indeed my simple pleasure to be part of the activities that has culminated in this conference, mounted by the Nyanza Women Professionals. And from the very onset, when the pioneers of the visionary agenda of this team reached out to me last year, I was greatly impressed by their thoughts and focus on sustainable development for future generations. And it is on account of this and my alignment with that visionary agenda that I chose to be associated with the Nyanza Women Professionals. Let me now begin by congratulating the organizers of this. And I must give special mention to Betty Adela. She's been very, very committed to this cause. To the deputy patron plus the entire secretariat. We have had many meetings that has culminated in where we are today. Allow me at the same time, or in the same way, to also thank the distinguished speakers who have joined us at this conference. To all of you, I must say I owe you a great debt of gratitude. When I reached out to the speakers who have joined us here today, individually, these are very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, but they all accepted to put aside everything that was on their table to come and join the Professional Association of Nyanza Women. So then I want to thank you very much. Madam Kampa, I want to thank you very, very much again in the same way. My coming colleague, Florence Boy, and a very good friend of mine in cabinet. Thank you very much. In absentia, I must also thank two of my colleagues. Rebecca Mian, she was to be here with us, but she has got of honor for the Queen, so she couldn't make it. Susanna Homicha was to be here with us. She's going to join us later this afternoon. She had a paper to present in cabinet this morning. So she opted to go and present that before joining us. And by the way, in the same vein, I must sincerely thank His Excellency the President for allowing me to be here, because we have a cabinet meeting in Mombasa this morning, and he said, for the Nyanza women, Eliud will allow you to go. And I don't think, Your Excellency, I'll only go if you allow me to go with my women cabinet colleagues. And he's sitting there, so I want to thank him very much. Harriet, thank you very much. Wakili, thank you very, very much for joining us. I also want to sincerely thank my colleagues who are here in government, those serving with me in government. And please just stand up. Just stand up. I saw CAS Engineer Bungo, I saw Evans Kidero. We have got Chief Administrative Secretary there, Dr. Evans Kidero, Chief Administrative Secretary Fred Outa, Chief Administrative Secretary Engineer Nicholas Bumbo. We have the Chairman of the Kenya Institute of Mass Communication, Mr. Charles Owino. We have got Millicent Rural here. She's a board member of the Lake Victoria South Waterworks Development Agency. We have got Rebecca Mora. She's a board member at the Lake Basin Development Authority. We have got Dr. Olet, the chair of the Nairobi River Commission. We have got Mrs. Nyamunga here, the chair of the Postal Corporation of Kenya. And everybody else, I saw Owalo also, the county commissioner, the chairman of Lake Basin Development Authority. I saw several other directors. I saw Kirito. To all of you, thank you very much. This is a manifestation to the Professional Association of Nyanza Women that you are not going to walk this journey alone. All of us who are serving in government are very, very much part and parcel of this journey, and will work with you and also augment your efforts depending on unfolding events from time to time. All of you, before you are getting of gratitude. May I also acknowledge Dr. Mary Okero. When I called her, she told me, Eliud, I'll be there for the women of Nyanza. Madam Rita, thank you very much for coming. My own lecturer, Dr. Elia, thank you very, very much for coming. The launch of the Professional Association of Nyanza Women today is very significant for a number of reasons. First is the very fact that our women are standing up to be counted. Quite often, the new challenges that confront sustainable human development will teach us to remain in the space of lamentation, despair, and passion. But the women professionals from this region are basically telling us that it is time to put lamentations aside behind us and to begin walking the talk and the path of development. The second issue of significance, ladies and gentlemen, is that the women professionals are set to be the trailblazers in waking up the sleeping giant that is Nyanza. That is to say, the woman has been the face of challenges in the past, but today has opted to be the face of hope as we move into the future. In the adversities of climate change, floods, energy crisis, famine and food challenges, and in healthcare and education, among many other challenges, the poster persona has been the woman. It is edifying and most encouraging, ladies and gentlemen, that we are gathered here today to witness our women taking the initiative to join the region from inertial paralysis of lamentation to the edifying promise of majestic heights of sustainable economic and human development. And from here, it is my expectation that you will begin fleshing out tangible programs and projects that can be turning around the economy of the city. As the Cabinet Secretary for ICT within the Kenya Kwanza government under the leadership and guidance of His Excellency the President, I urge you to familiarize yourself thoroughly with the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, just as Harriet and espoused earlier on, and to align to our own agendas with your own agenda, whose principal champion is none other than His Excellency the President. Our bottom-up economic transformation agenda is the capsule of the Kenya Kwanza Government Development Plan, and it is founded on 5 pillars, and that includes agriculture, universal health, care, affordable housing, small and medium enterprises, and of course the digital superhighway, which has been tasked by His Excellency the President to operationalize. Alignment to this platform, ladies and gentlemen, is imperative because it will help you deliver the resources within government. Just like anything else that you are doing, you have to align with the global development agenda as is enshrined in the Sustainable Development Goals. At continental level, you need to align to the Africa Union's Agenda 2063, regionally to the East African Community's Vision 2050, and of course locally to our own Kenya Vision 2030 and the plan, which is now the policy framework on which everything else we are doing in government is anchored. There is plenty of scope for us in this regard. Earlier on, the presentation by our own Kwame Whitman and the plenary discussions point to this sense of reality. The potential outlined to us points to the need for cooperatives through which much of the opportunities can be tapped. We are better off working together and very weak working alone. That is the denominator. And as women professionals and leaders, members of PAN are well suited for purposes of reaching out to other women from the region and leading them in forming cooperative savings and credit societies. That is a critical success factor for the woman moving forward. We must constitute ourselves into feasible, tangible, cooperative society so that we leverage on economies of scale to be able to exploit the full potential that is available within our operational environment. There is a lot to be done in marine life in this region and the blue economy, given the potential of our rivers and of course Lake Victoria. How do we rehabilitate the lake and make it the pivot of our economic activities in the region and beyond? That's a question we must answer. What can we do for the environment? Environmental management, environmental sustainability cannot be examined. So that we are at once restoring and protecting it, while also making our engagement with it as a source of job creation and also generation of wealth for the other. Plenty of opportunities also exist in this region. The cotton sector, the sugar sector, agricultural production generally, the Western tourism circuit, and even in agro-processing. In that regard, a lot can be done in rice farming as well, in coffee, sorghum, and in soya and sunflower sales. What we are saying is that over and above the generation of crops, there are remaining crops which can have the economy of this region. And we need to diversify our production lines so that we leverage on diversity to exploit the full potential that this region contains. In animal production, there are also opportunities in aquaculture, poultry, and even in livestock development. And all these, ladies and gentlemen, if we work together, we will know where to find space in micro, small, and medium enterprises. We have, in the recent past, working in partnership with my colleagues in government from this region, held consultative meetings with women self-help groups in Nyanza, in all the four counties of Homa Bay, Siaya, Migori, and Kisumu. And the message has been the same, that they have to constitute themselves in cooperative societies, they have to identify the opportunities available within government, and enjoy economies of scale to liberate on those opportunities. Their appreciation of the need to work together for themselves and for the region has been overwhelming. And I want to thank members of PAC who help the rank and file of our women in this region. As they constitute themselves in cooperative societies, they need legal support. You can offer that legal support for free. They need business plans. Many of you come from that background. You can help them develop business plans for free. Moving forward, as they go, they need strategic plans. You are experts in those fields. You can do that for free. That is the only way and means that we can give back to the society and by extension the entire Nyanza region and even the Legacy region for that matter. During these meetings that we have had with these women, we have also been privileged to bring together leaders and officials from various state departments and government agencies. We have brought on board officials from the Ministry of Cooperatives, we have brought on board officials from the Ministry of Blue Economy and Mining, we have brought on board officials from the Office of the Advisor to the President on Gender Matters, and we have interfaced with these women, and these meetings have been very, very, very useful. Without a doubt, these women demonstrate clearly that the region is ready for tech. Nyanza is ready for tech. But what is left is organized and structured leadership, which you people can espouse, if not experience governance. Such leadership and guidance is best provided by professionals like yourselves. Its role is at once providing models and helping the grassroots to develop viable business plans in adjacent areas and by extension, strategic plans, depending on unfolding events as the need may be from time to time. Those plans will clearly see the market and the linkages to this market and connect grassroots women to them. But as Dr. Lily had said, finance is also not just fundamental, but it is also critical. And when we talk about finance, let us not just talk about how to source finance. Let us also talk about how to ensure that we prudently utilize the scarce resources that come available at our disposal to exploit the opportunities that are available. They go hand in hand. Get the finance, but also ensure that there is prudence in utilization. There is a risk, and for that matter, it's safe. We have a surfeit of professional talent and competence among Nyanza women professionals. I need to remind you, of course, of the presence of a hustler fund as far as financing is concerned. Borrowing at an interest rate of 8% against a market rate of 16%. Please, as you have been encouraged earlier on by Dr. Owalo, encourage our women to access loans. You can't develop on the utilization of your own resources. None of us have the resources for business without reaching out to utilize other people's money. And that money is available in cooperative societies, that money is available in banks. Those who have embraced the hustler fund are getting great strides towards realizing their dreams. And therefore the women of Nyanza cannot be an exception. Besides getting the grassroots entrenched in the business and development opportunities that are available, thank you very much and may God bless you. Allow me to now have the distinguished honor and privilege to invite Her Excellency Mayor Whitman to come and make her remarks. The U.S. Ambassador, let's all be outstanding as
Just help me lift this chin. Just help me.
We're going to, thank you, Ambassador. We're going to do what is known as a fireside chat, which is where the Ambassador and I have a conversation. You've all shared your questions, some of the things we want to talk to her about. So instead of listening to a speech, we're going to have the conversation. And so, Ambassador Whitman, welcome back to Kisumu. We're excited and privileged to have you with us. Can I have another mic for the Ambassador? Okay, brilliant. So you sent me some of your questions, and I'm going to field them quite naturally. Let's see how we go. But first, who's Mayor Whitman?
Well, first of all, I'm Nyanza. It's great to be here. And I want to thank Owalo for putting this together, for inviting all these very powerful women. And I'm delighted to be here. So round of applause for Owalo. Well, who is Meg Whitman? That's a good question. I was raised in America, in New York, and I was the youngest of 3 children. And I think probably many of you, I heard a few mentions today, many of you probably had very influential mothers. And my mother made a big difference to me. She told my sister and my brother and me that we could do anything we wanted. She was encouraging, she was our biggest champion. She picked us up when we fell down, and she convinced us we could do anything. And I think there's a real thread of friends of mine who have been successful in the United States. Every one of them had very powerful and influential mothers. So round of applause for moms. We were very thrilled. I went to public school, and I went to Princeton University. I was in just the 4th class of women to ever go to Princeton. Princeton had been all male for 250 years. I was in the early classes of women at Harvard Business School. Only 10% of my class was women. Out of a class of 800 women, 800 men, 800 people, there were 80 women. So it was pioneering really from the beginning of school. There were really very few career opportunities for her. She could be a nurse, she could be a secretary. That was really it. And today, the girls that graduate from college and high school, they think they can be anything. They can be an astronaut, they can be a scientist, they can be a doctor, they can be a politician, they can be president of the United States. Not yet. But they think they can do anything. And I think that's enormous because, and the other thing I think is about, and you're going to ask me about this, is mentorship. If you can see it, you can be it. So if you can see someone who is a doctor or a politician or a lead farmer do that, and I think it's super important not to be afraid, not to be worried about failing. You've got to try, and you've got to show the world that you can do it. And my experience is every time I put a woman in a job at my companies that I ran, they were worried, they weren't sure they could do it, but they did an amazing job. I like to say, you go girls.
Go girls. Okay. So the experiences you're saying are generally the same. Some countries may be a little bit further ahead. One of the issues I raised earlier when we began the conversation before we walked in the room was, what is it that men are so afraid of? Why are they so afraid of us? What is it? You've got wives, you've got girlfriends, you've got daughters, you've got nieces. We're cute, we're smart. What do you feel? Over the years, in your entrepreneurial journey, your space in business, politics. I was thinking the other gender, CS is looking at me very intense. What do you feel is the problem? What do we need to do to bring that on board? I don't know if we need to do anything. That's the question.
You know, I think, listen, many men are very supportive of women and want women to get ahead. I would say CS Owalo is very supportive and wants women to get ahead. Otherwise, he would not have put together this conference. So many men, and increasingly younger men, understand that, you know, they're going to marry women who have their own ambitions and the things they want to do. I think if you, at least in the United States, if you interview the girls who graduated in my class from college and what we thought we could do, and you interview the girls today, boy, they have much bigger ambitions. And the boys don't think that they're going to be, they know they have to compete. They know they have to compete. And so I think it's generational. I don't know that it is evil. I don't know. I think it's just generational. And I think, you know, another couple of generations and you will have a group of boys and men who think very differently about what their partners are going to do.
Okay, that's fair. And that's nice to know too. Okay. I was a minister of a county in Kisumu for 5 years. I stopped in December. And I was looking after tourism, culture, and sports. And one of my tasks was to help entrepreneurs in film, the arts, fashion, to commercialize their craft. And time again, the issue would be the banks are not listening. They don't have access to the networking. And I was very frustrated at my own international experience, thinking, I should be able to fix this. I don't know the government, I don't know how to network. But it's still just to move the needle. What can we do different as this association? Really, specifically, what do you need to do?
So I think access to capital is one of the biggest issues facing small businesses in this country. By the way, in most countries. But if you don't have access to capital, it's very hard to get going. And then let's say you discover a business that's growing very fast. You need even more capital. You need working capital to buy the inputs to make products that you get paid for later. So finance, access to capital is what makes business go round. For small businesses and technology here, you have a very robust venture capital community. They invest in small businesses, largely technology businesses. Actually, Kenya and its Silicon Savannah, that I know the CS is very enthusiastic about. You have the second largest venture capital community in terms of dollars on the entire continent, second only to Nigeria. And as a percentage of GDP, you have the largest venture capital community on the continent. So for technology, I think there's the beginnings of the really great sort of forward-looking momentum within Silicon Savannah. But it is tough if you're raising money for agriculture or apparel or dried fruits or almost anything other than technology and hard to raise money. I see a lot of booths that are right out there. They, have access to money. But I think the missing element here is the commercial banks. The commercial banks in many other countries have greased the wheels of entrepreneurial activity. And if there's one thing I think that the professional association Nyanza could do, probably says a lot of stuff, is get the banks to lend more money to businesses. Your banking sector here is very resilient, very profitable, but they could lend more to businesses. And I think sort of encourage them to do that.
And you are so well positioned because you are the gateway to 500 million people in East Africa. 60% of all goods in East Africa go through the port of Mombasa. You have the infrastructure now that allows you to play in that sphere. So I think the international community can be helpful around the edges, but it's Kenya's choice, and Kenya has to decide how and where and what you want to do.
I'm going to answer you that question because it's important that people see that we run our show. We just have support around us. Instead of, so I wanted that narrative, and I hope it will slowly die off. This is not necessary. You're helping us do what we wanted to do anyway. So I appreciate that. So, what climate do we, this association, need to create? This is now to do with health, to entice our US counterparts, to create partnerships on sexual and reproductive health rights and sexual gender-based violence issues. What can we do around that?
Yeah. Well, again, I think Kenyans have to lead the way on these. We can certainly provide some financial support, but it really has to be Kenyans. And I'll tell you a little story. I think civil society is really important. When I was thinking about taking this job as ambassador to Kenya, I called one of my good friends, whose name is Condoleezza Rice. Condoleezza was the Secretary of State under George Bush. She came to Kenya many times. In fact, most recently in 2007, 2008. And I said, I said, Condi, should I go to Kenya? And she said, absolutely, you should go to Kenya. This is going to be great. I think you'll be a very good fit and you will love Kenya. And she said, but you know the people you need to pay the most attention to is civil society. She goes, yeah, the politicians. You need to talk to the politicians. You need to talk to the politicians, but really the power in Kenya lies with civil society. They are the ones who are going to make the change around women, around gender-based violence, about reproductive rights, whatever it is. And I have found that to be true. So I've spent a disproportionate of time with, if you will, civil society, religious leaders and others in Kenya, and they are the change makers in many ways.
Okay, all right. Another question.
Not to say that politicians don't have things to do here.
Okay. Mentorship, it's a word, we hear it, oftentimes we get on stages, we present, we talk about it. The younger generations ask us, they say that we're just fluff and a lot of talk. How do we turn that around? How do we specifically mentor? What are the steps? Because you've done all of that. Because we come on stage, we do the big presentations, we post it on Facebook, TikTok, etc. And that young adult in Kenya and around the world is still left with, I didn't get mentorship, I don't know how to, what does it do for me? So how do we follow the steps? What exactly should we, the guys who sit on this side of the stage, do to them and for them?
I think this can be one of the most meaningful things that the Professional Association of Nyanza Women actually do, which is mentor young girls, I think, in your case. And I think the first thing is everyone has to understand that no matter where you are in your career, you can be a mentor. If you're 26, you can mentor 22-year-olds. Sometimes, by the way, you can mentor 50-year-olds. We had a program at Procter & Gamble where we had the young people who joined the company mentor the older people on technology, because the 50-somethings did not understand social media at all. They couldn't understand it. By the way, many companies now have the younger people mentoring older people around artificial intelligence. So, but I would say typically mentorship is from someone who has a little bit more experience to someone who has less experience. So everyone can be a mentor. You don't have to be at the top of your organization. You can move, you can be somewhere, anywhere and help. And the first thing you have to realize is how important it can be. And I'll be straightforward with this group. For probably the first 20 years of my career, I wasn't that interested in mentoring anyone. I was just focused on figuring out what I needed to do next, what was going to be, how did I, work hard and deliver the results. And it wasn't until I was about 40 years old where I said, you know what? If we want change for this next generation of women, the women who have been at the forefront, have to really help the youngsters. And so really the last 20 to 30 years, I have spent a lot of time with women's group, young girls, and because I am at my core a technology executive, I've spent 40 years in technology. I've really spent a lot of time trying to interest young girls in science, technology, engineering, and math. Because it's, at least in the United States, what happens is girls and boys are equal in science and math until 6th grade. Then 7th, 8th, 9th grade, you see a drop-off. Another drop-off of 9, 10, 11, 12. And then the women who do get to college in science and technology and maybe engineering, they drop out of those majors much faster than the men. And we have to encourage those girls. By the way, engineering is hard. It's hard. Math is hard. But anyone can do it. And we just need to encourage people that it's going to be hard, but you're going to be so glad that if you have any aptitude for science or technology. If I had to do it over again, I was an economics major. If I had to do the whole thing over, I would force myself to be a computer science engineer. It wouldn't have been natural, but I would have benefited dramatically. And every business is a technology business today. Agriculture is a technology business. Fashion is a technology business. Tourism is a technology business. And knowing the basics about technology for this younger generation, I think is really important.
All right. As I wrap up, a few more. I know you have to leave us soon. This association would like to collaborate with the US on an exchange program between entrepreneurs from the region and entrepreneurs from that region. How can we make that happen? That's the question.
So one of the things I think that Kenya and the US do very well together is cross-cultural exchanges. We have so many Kenyans that have gone to exchange programs in the US for a week, a month, gone to high school, gone to college, gone to graduate school. Every day I run into Kenyans who have actually gone to school in the United States. There's also a very big diaspora in Kenya, in the United States. In Dallas, Texas, in San Francisco, New York, and very powerful diaspora. In fact, I think the government has recognized the power of the Kenyan diaspora in the United States. And then we've had many people, Chris Coons, who many of you may have heard of as a senator, a very important senator, who spent his first year in college here at the University of Nairobi. Speaks fluent Swahili and has been an advocate for Africa and for Kenya in the United States Senate for 20 years. So there's been tremendous back and forth, and I think it leads to understanding, I think it leads to learning from both cultures, and I think it's one of the things we do best. And so if there's a specific idea that the Professional Association of Nyanza has about an entrepreneurial exchange program, come see me about that, because it's one of the things that I think we're most interested in. And if you look back over 60 years of Kenyan-American partnership, that's been one of the highlights for 60 years. We have Fulbright scholars, we've got Mandela scholars, we've got all kinds of exchange programs.
Okay, we've heard that. So now let me, and my parents and my kids are part of that journey. So here we are. I want to open it to the floor. Gentlemen, is there another mic? Thank you. All right, the lady at the front with the black jumper, the black top. Can't hear you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon. Everybody else, all protocols observed. Ambassador, good afternoon. You touched on the issue of diasporan Americans, Kenyans. So, look, there are some areas where our two presidents interconnect. President Biden has an interest.
You on a conversation. I was asked to speak a little about women's entrepreneurship and how our experience in India has been on that front. And I want to say that perhaps a good place to start is to ask why entrepreneurship for women matters in developing countries like Kenya and India. And why should we as governments, and I am part of that system of governance and government, why should we as governments be paying attention to this and be encouraging the kind of initiatives that we are today gathered to launch? I think that by providing women an ecosystem and opportunities through a platform like One Women, we have a shot at creating a virtuous cycle of economic activity that could have ripple effects in the larger region and demonstrate what is possible when those energies are utilized and tapped into. And by investing in the potential of women entrepreneurs and women professionals like yourselves gathered here today, women like you can show us down the road what is possible, given half a chance what is possible, and what can be done to uplift the regional economy as a whole. And what I would like to underscore here is that investing in women through capacity building, through preferential policies and supportive ecosystems, including digital tools that I've come to and that I know is close to the heart and mandate of Owalo, but also for us as a country, I think it's not just that it is the right thing to do, it is also the smart thing to do. And if half the population are not able to fully participate in the economy due to various reasons, whether that is historic inequities, patriarchy, structural obstacles, and all other kinds of entrenched hindrances that are found in every geography, not just in Kenya, not just in India, but across the world, including in developed countries and advanced economies, then it means that we collectively as a country and we collectively as communities and regions will falter. And we will not be able to realize the progress that we aspire to as developing countries. The goals that you have set under the government of Kenya, under the Kenya Kwanza agenda, to fulfill them, you need the full and equal and proactive participation of your women. And we're conscious of that in India when it comes to India's goals and India's growth. And I know that the government of Kenya is seized of that here in Kenya. So the simple point that I wish to make is this, that this is not only about the political or ideological choice that is important. And that in itself is certainly important, and we've heard many of you passionately speak about it today, whether it comes to gender rights, gender justice, gender equality, women's empowerment. Those are all important issues. But the point I really want to take off on today and to sort of underscore that what is at stake here is the following, that if you're living in the global south, it is a pragmatic imperative for countries like India and Kenya to unleash the potential of our women. If we want to accelerate growth and development and meet the socio-economic goals that we've set for ourselves as countries, as communities, as regions, as neighborhoods, we can't do that without our women. Therefore, governments, societies, organizations, we must all proactively engage on the question of how do we empower our women and raise their participation in our countries when they constitute roughly half the population. And we need to see more women in civic life, in political life, and in the economic life of the country. In India, for us, we see this as a pressing priority. And when we view the role of women, we view that role as indispensable in the goal that we've set up for ourselves, which is to transform our country and to realize the vision of what we call Atmanirbhar Bharat, which roughly translates into a self-reliant India. And Kenya shares many similarities with India in terms of your composition, your demography, but also in terms of the paths we've chosen for ourselves and the destination that we as countries want to reach. Our historical arcs have intersected to produce a deep and resilient friendship which holds many lessons and experiences that we can partake in with each other. So, let me tell you a little about India's experiences, and I think I'm particularly happy to share that today at this forum, because I heard a lot of you touch upon some of those things that I'm going to come to, and that have been such important factors in India's own journey as a country and in India's own journey to develop and to grow and to prosper and progress. In India, we followed a multi-pronged approach to creating enabling conditions for securing the full and equal participation of women in public life and our socio-economic and political discourse. We are very mindful that this is an unfinished agenda. When Indian women have to go far, just as Kenyan women have to go far, and we still have quite a lot left to do and improve on this front.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We want to move into the program where now we want to get into the launch. And this is where I would request all our dignitaries, the CS, the chair, our honorable CSs, Honorable Chigai, Gladys Boss, Ambassador again, to come up onto the stage as we unveil our logo. I'm looking for Betty. Yeah, Betty, you can lead as our chair.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is the hour, this is the time, this is the showstopper of why we are here today. In this day part, we have another part of dinner, gala dinner, extended later on this evening, just in this premise, and you're most welcome. So at this juncture, we want to launch our organization. We are launching Pan Women. Pan Women. This way we Association of Nyanza Women, Pan Women. Now, Pan in itself, as I had alluded earlier, is our traditional pestle and mortar pan here. Right. So we use that symbolically to reflect on really our role as women professionals going to give back into our communities. And I've realized actually the little pan doesn't get old. We get older than it. Like there's one in our home where I grew up. I saw it in my grandmother's home, but today we are all old now. But it's just there. So we are going to launch now our logo, and our logo reflects the pan, like two women pounding something in the mortar, in the pan, right? So we know that often it is food that is found in there, reflecting really our noble role of nurturing and nutrition, providing for nutrition and the food security that we talked about. We also know that in a pan, you can also brown herbs, to heal. So again, it reflects all our pillars around health, reproductive health, maternal child health, mental health, and all that we represent. But we also know that because pie doesn't age, it reflects also our longer-term vision. We are the duty bearers now, but we want to also create a platform for handing over the baton, to other younger, upcoming women professionals to take lead in pine women. So at this point, I will invite Waziri, our distinguished guest, to come up on stage, Ambassador to come up on stage, and the Secretariat to also come up on stage as we now want to actually do the launch. And as they are coming, ladies and gentlemen, the members of the National Secretariat of Pine Women are here, and allow me to just name them one by one. So without much ado, allow me to reiterate again our appreciation to our patron, Waziri Owalo, who we are greatly indebted to, and owe a lot of gratitude, not only on behalf of the Secretariat, but on behalf of all the women here and out there who believe in this vision. I will also mention that Senator Ross Nambuga is one of our deputy patrons, again guiding us together with Engineer John Makodawa. And also mentor us as we move this. And then we have Ruth Okowa. Ruth, where are you? Yes. So Ruth Okowa is the deputy chair of Pine Women. And then we have Joanne Bunga, who is our esteemed secretary, keeping all the dots connected. A round of applause for all of them. Then we have Dr. Simpa Owich, the money lady, and literally money lady, right? Dr. Simpa is our. So Dr. Simpa is our esteemed treasurer. And then we have Madam Grace O'Hara, who's our organizing secretary. And she was also the chair of the launch coordinating and planning committee that has caused us to be all here today. We have Madam Betty Otiata, my namesake, who is the deputy organizing secretary, deputizing groups. Then we have other members. We have our youth representative. And as you can see, she's mentally as a vision, by the way, as Ambassador May said, but we have youth representation and certainly looking forward for more. We have Marianne. Yes, we have Madame Marianne, who is a member. Then we have Commissioner Lilian Mahiri, who's not here. funeral that you're going to attend to. And then other members of the coordinating launch committee, we have Dr. Anyango, you can just wave. And then we have Aida Bari. We're going to see more of them later in the evening at dinner. We're going to see. Mercy, where are you? Mercy Nyawala, I think maybe she has just stepped out. Yeah. Mercy Nyawala is our member, and we also have Madam Meg also as our member. Anyhow, oh yes. Again, as you can see, tunaweka right? Alright. So at this point, then we just go straight, Waziri, and our distinguished guests to actually do the launch. So Waziri will press on. So we have to look at the screen.
Thank you, CS. Thank you, distinguished guests. You may now take a seat. We are now heading to our lunch program. There will be a photo session right through those doors. The CS will be front and center, and then the secretariat and our distinguished guests. And all of you are invited into that photo session. Please don't miss out. It's right in front of the doors.
Nyuma kidogo, tusongeni nyuma kidogo. Come on. All right, so we are ready for the photo now. Okay, ladies, give us your best smile ever. All right. Over here. That's the main camera. So let's give a big cheese. Cheese. Cheese.
It's not capturing everyone. Sido, it can't capture, it's too wide.
All right.
Hello, how are you? Tuko salama.
Those ladies will come from the vices.
Of Nyanza women, acronym as HIGH. So today we're here at Sierra Resort to launch our association. Our launch is in India. So there's what we have done is that continues when our plan. And then we had marks from our country, our CS, ICT, Owalo, other CSs, distinguished guests as well. And in the afternoon, we'll continue with our commitment. So part 2 is the dinner time, where we will have a dinner gala. But where is the grass? To launch our website and to also launch our county chapters. Where is the grass? These are county chapters that we are going to implement all that we want to implement at the grassroots level. So our last part will be tomorrow. In the morning hours, we will move to Maseno University, where we will be joined by our Waziri, Eliud, as well as the CS for Environment, Madam Tuya, at Maseno University to plant 1,000 tree seedlings within the university grounds and premises here in Maseno. Again, as our contribution as professional women towards the President's initiative of planting 15 billion trees by 2030 in an effort to restore our forests and water catchment and better our environment. So today our launch is attracting over 200 of our members who have physically come, and many others who were able to join virtually as well. And our members are from 4 Nyanza counties, that's Migori, Homa Bay, Kisumu, and Siaya. And the mix of the professions that we represent, I cannot remember which one is not represented. We have members who are from academia. We have members who are in the health sector, education sector, social enterprise sector, the legal sector, and so many other sectors as well. We also have a good mix of representation of young women professionals who, again, we have grouped as mature ones to mentor so that they are more grounded better in their professional spaces as they give on. So today we unpack our theme, which is investing in sustainable development for future generations through socioeconomic development, of which we recognize that Nyanza region is key, given the development indicators as we see. Apologies from Ambassador Sebastian Groh, the German ambassador to Kenya, who unfortunately got ill and was lost. So we span the 5 SDGs to ensure that our women, our girls, and our youth reach their fullest potential. We recognize, of course, the contribution of women in various spaces, one as beneficiaries of interventions, but also as those who bear the greatest brunt in the face of any challenges that face us. So we have a development-oriented agenda that now has been officially unveiled. And one of the things we want to do, again, primarily, is to expand financial inclusion opportunities for our women, tapping into the opportunities existing within the Kenya Kwanza government, as well as reaching out to other potential stakeholders within the development space, state sector, as well as private sector. Basically, we are giving back. As professional women, we want to face home, go back home and build home. We also want to support the education space, our children who probably need help to complete their education. We want to reconsider maternal child health, sexual reproductive health and rights for our women, but more importantly for our young women. The youth, or boy child, so to speak, is not left behind. We are the ones who give birth to both girls and boys. So any other person out there who needs our help, to the extent that will be possible, will be able to reach. And also, we will have interventions around climate smart agriculture, tapping into our vast potential of the blue economy. We will also expand on the climate change global conversations and do what we can, whenever we can it, however we can it. We can do it at the grassroots level. So our logo of Pine Women is literally a pine. You know, it's a mortar and pestle. But that's symbolic to us because we are bringing together every form. We are concocting all ideas into one place, tailoring them to suit the unique needs of our region and also of our people. and then giving back. So we have a secretariat. They're all here. That is driving this force, this initiative, and we are appealing to all women out there from this region. Whoever wants to join us, the door is wide open. If anybody was waiting for action, this is the time, because beyond today and tomorrow, it is now action machination. So I just want to, if you allow me, introduce a little bit of the key driving team. All of us here are driving, this initiative. But as I said, I'm the chair. Daktari is the treasurer. Dr. Silpa, which is the second treasurer. Joanne Ogunga is our secretary to look at. And then we have Ruth Okowa behind there, who's the vice chair, and also our two deputy patrons, Madam Joan Makodawa and Honorable Rose Yamunga, among others. There are many, we can't name everyone together. So before I let my colleague to also say a few things,
I love you, mama. Nikwendete mama. Ndakuyanze mama. Mama nyargire. Nyako malish bewaro. Ine minwa onge moro kendo.